Alexandra Eala leads the entire WTA Tour in one number this season, and it is the one nobody wanted her to lead. On Sunday in Toronto in the second set against Belinda Bencic, she won no games at all. 56 matches, more than any other woman on tour this year. This is the story of the one statistic where a 21-year-old outranks Pegula, Svitolina, Andreeva, and Rybakina, why the WTA's own rulebook forces most of it, and what it costs her in Cincinnati and New York. Before we get to that draw, you need to understand something about her calendar that the coverage has backwards. This is not mainly a team overplaying its young star. Her uncle Naomi Eala posted within hours of the loss. "Alex is like a battery that just got drained," he wrote. He added that it had been her best win streak so far. That is a family in public saying the part everyone else was being polite about. So start with the number, 56 matches. Behind her, Jessica Pegula on 51, Elina Svitolina on 51, Mira Andreeva on 50, Elena Rybakina on 48. Three of them are older, more established, and longer on tour. Andreeva is only 19. The same tally has her at 21 tournaments already, with no sign of slowing down. Now look at where the recent ones came from. In Washington, she beat Zheng Qinwen, the Olympic champion. She beat Leylah Fernandez, the defending champion. She beat Svitolina. She beat Naomi Osaka. Then she beat the top seed Pegula in the final, 4-6, 6-4, 6-love, taking the last 9 games of the match. That was the first WTA singles title in the history of Filipino tennis. It moved her from number 28 in the world to number 20, a career high. 2 days later, she was on court in Canada. She beat Alicia Parks in 3 sets. She beat Catty McNally in 3 more, 6-3, 5-7, 6-4. Then Bencic beat her 6-4, 6-love in an hour and 13 minutes, and the 7-match winning streak was over. Here is where the story usually stops. Young player wins big, young player runs out of gas, someone decides her team should manage her better. That reading is wrong, and the real answer is more interesting. Because Alexandra Eala did not choose most of this schedule, the tour did. Here is the mechanism. The WTA operates a commitment system. It is not a suggestion, and it is not an invitation. Under the tour's rulebook, players at the top of the game are committed to the WTA 1000 and WTA 500 events, and a player who qualifies for acceptance into the main draw of a WTA 1000 is automatically obligated to play it. The relief valve is narrow. Essentially, you need a long-term injury leave, at which point your required number is adjusted downward. Tiredness is not a category. Her uncle laid the arithmetic out himself. Fortunately or unfortunately, as a top-tier player, Alex is mandated by WTA rules to play all WTA 1000 tournaments plus all slams in order to total at least 18 to 20 tournaments per season, he wrote. Then he listed what that means for the rest of her year. So Canada and Cincinnati are must-play, as well as Beijing and Wuhan Open, in addition to some WTA 500s. He noted this does not even account for her wanting to represent the national team. Read that again because it inverts the whole story. The reward for breaking into the top tier of women's tennis is that you lose control of your own calendar. The better she got, the less say she had. Every win in Washington did not just add points to her ranking, it added obligations to her diary. The system is not malfunctioning, it is doing exactly what it was built to do, which is guarantee the events the tour sells its season on get the stars they paid for. That is the trade nobody explains to a 21-year-old on the way up. The evidence that the bill has arrived is not coming from anonymous accounts online, it is coming from people paid to watch closely. Russ Thaler of the Tennis Channel put it flatly on the Inside in Tennis podcast. "I'm really worried about her mentally and physically going into the US Open," he said. He described her matches as death matches because she cannot hold serve easily and has trouble serving them out. Then he said the thing that should worry her camp most. "I worry that the gas tank emotionally and physically will be empty," he said of New York. Thaler went further than sympathy. He argued the sport needs her to win matches in New York, then floated that losing sooner rather than later might not hurt her. That is a broadcaster on a major network suggesting the healthiest outcome for a rising star is an early exit. 2 observers, 1 family and 1 neutral, one reaching for a battery, the other for a fuel gauge. Neither is talking about her forehand. So here is the bill, and it is due within days. Cincinnati starts this week, and she goes in as the 17th seed, the third time in her last 4 events she has been seeded. It buys her a first-round bye. That is 1 free day. After that, the draw stops being kind. She plays the winner of Magdalene against Elena Gabriela Rus. Get through that, and the projected third round is Amanda Anisimova. Get through that, and the fourth round is Linda Noskova, the reigning Wimbledon champion who has already beaten Eala twice this season at Indian Wells and again in Berlin. Survive Noskova, and the projected quarterfinal is Pegula, the player she took the title from in Washington. The projected semifinal is Iga Swiatek or Rybakina. The projected final is Aryna Sabalenka or Coco Gauff. That is the real price of a career-high ranking. You get a bye, and then you get everybody. And she cannot protect herself by walking away because of where she sits in the other race. On the WTA's own race to the final standings, published on the 11th of August, Eala was 15th with 1,997 points. The top 8 qualify for Indian Wells. She is not in that 8, but close enough that the mathematics still work if the autumn goes well. The events that decided are Cincinnati, the U.S. Open, Beijing, and Wuhan, which are the exact events she is mandated to play anyway. So both doors are expensive. Skip a mandatory event and you take the penalty and watch the qualification maths close. Play them all and you arrive in New York having played more tennis than anyone else on tour. There is no version of this August where she rests properly and keeps everything she has earned. That is not a failure of planning, that is the structure. Her uncle finished his explanation with 4 words, the most honest summary anyone has offered of this season. The price of success, he wrote. The interesting question is not whether she is tired and her own family has now said so in public. The question is what she is allowed to give up in order to protect New York, and the answer, under the rules as they are currently written, is almost nothing. She is 21, and the reward for proving she belongs is a calendar she does not control and a fortnight in Ohio that can take Washington back off her. So watch Cincinnati, but not the result. Watch whether the serve holds in a third set and whether the emotion that carried her all summer is still fuel or has started to become weight. Because the number that made her the story of this season is 56, and the sport has not decided yet whether that is a monument or a warning.